So let's continue to make our state more competitive. Let's cut more burdensome business taxes. New York State's corporate tax rate is currently 7.1%. Let's cut it to 6.5%, which would be the lowest corporate rate since 1968. Let's pass a manufacturer's tax credit for 20% of the firm's property tax liability. Let's eliminate the move to die tax, where people literally leave our state, move to another state to do estate planning. We also need a renter's tax credit to help New Yorkers afford the ever-increasing housing costs that they're experiencing.
That was Governor Cuomo there outlining his plan to cut. You can step on my line here across New York State this year, and he gave his annual State of the State address, obviously, in the Capital District. Now, Cuomo also pitching tougher anti-corruption laws, as well as plans to modernize New York City's airports and allow medical marijuana use, among other highlights. Okay, tell the truth. I think I already know your answer. Don, if you close your eyes, could this have been Pataki?
Not right-wing enough.
Possibly, I can make the argument. But that's what makes Governor Cuomo a good politician.
Now, you probably would have avoided, when they weren't looking, you would have skipped out, because we all know how torturous these things are. But if you were in there, would the people clapping have been the Republicans more than Democrats today, or the other way around?
Oh,
on the fiscal side.
There are things you clap for because he's the governor and he deserves the respect the governor deserves. Then there are things you clap for because you agree with him.
Like you just heard, the property tax
and that was
cuts.
all from the Republican side. What he did today was pick a fight with Rob Astorino about who the real Paul Ryan clone is in New York. Who's the austerity guy? Cut taxes, cut spending, the economy will prosper. There's no evidence that works. In New York, the most prosperous areas are the high tax, high investment areas. Now, that could be an accident, or it could be the reason, but he's never
What about the argument he said,
evidence.
which is you go north, really, of Westchester or Central Hudson Valley, you got to give corporate tax relief to these people because they're dying. Any legitimacy to that?
If the tax rate was the problem, why are the corporations moving to the high tax areas? That's what the story of the New York economy is. Westchester, much higher taxes. Everybody wants in. Onondaga, much lower taxes. No one wants to be there. Now, if he thinks that will change because they're changing the corporate tax rate, all right, let him make the case. Let him provide some evidence. Where does he get the estate tax cut? I understand that there's a fairness issue, for small farmers especially. Fair enough. But as a matter of affecting our economy, you're going to spend $1.5 billion that could otherwise be used to invest in things?
This isn't about what's best for the state. This isn't about what's best for the economy of the state. This is about giving out candy. This is giving out candy.
Don't impugn his motives until you know what they are.
Take him at his word with an election year budget.
Yeah. That's exactly right. Take everybody at their word, Dominic. This is going to kill you.
It will.
But that's a better way to journalize than just assume the worst.
Dominic, I want this to me was a little political jujitsu when he spoke about pre-K, for example. He said he wasn't going to talk about it today. He did bring it up. Take a listen.
In 2013, in the State of the State, we called for expanded full-day pre-K. The Assembly has long championed the same. It's time it's time for New York State to have universal full-day pre-K statewide.
If I hear that, I say this is terrific. De Blasio got exactly what he wanted, but the mayor's he's not buying it, is he?
No, because they're on a collision course, the mayor and Governor Cuomo. They can see that they want this pre-K, but the question is, how do you pay for it? De Blasio wants his tax increase. Governor Cuomo says, no way, no how, we'll fund it another way.
No, he didn't say that. He didn't say we'll fund it another way. Listen to that man like he was a lawyer. What he said is it's time we should have universal pre-K. Whether the local governments should be forced to pay for it or the state's going to pick it up is not anything he mentioned. This is austerity.
Early in the week, though, he did imply Albany would find the money.
Yes, he did. He did.
What does find the money mean? For the first year or for every year?
No, he didn't. To be fair to you, it could have been 1 year pilot program. It didn't mean for 5.
And that's what they're fighting about. De Blasio wants it for more than 1 year. These are all facts. This is nothing new.
This reminds me of what Bill Clinton used to do when he was in the White House, which is take his opponent's positions and get out ahead of them on those same positions.
Yeah.
Well, it's nothing wrong with it. If Andrew Cuomo wants to support state picking up the share of universal pre-K, everybody, including Bill de Blasio, should applaud. That doesn't mean that Bill de Blasio
Is he right?
should
Is
be
he
able to
right,
run his own
Richard,
city.
that the governor and the mayor, that's going to be the headline fight here in the first quarter this year?
As has been pointed out in columns on Huffington Post and elsewhere, yes.
Who was the author of those columns?
I'll leave that to your imagination. There's going to be, these guys like each other. Don't misunderstand this. This is not personal. They'd like to get along. But the first thing
They're
that
not gonna get along.
the first thing that Andrew Cuomo does is say to the mayor-elect, you can't have your signature piece. That's about who's in charge, not about what the policy
But
is
it's
gonna be.
always about who's in charge between the mayor and the governor.
Okay.
Always.
Well, I'll tell you who's not in charge is some of the biggest names in baseball not too many years ago who were looking on the outside, looking into the Hall of Fame. As we learned who got in this year, I'll give you a hint, there were 3 of them, and who didn't. And there were a whole lot of names, including some of the biggest names here for the last quarter century. Stay with us. Bob Klapisch will join us, one of those people who cast a vote today. Talk baseball and Hall of Fame straight ahead.